Index on Censorship is honoured to give a special commendation to Belarus's prisoners of conscience. On the 19th of December, the night of the presidential elections in Belarus, a large demonstration was held in Independence Square in Minsk. The protest was dispersed violently, with the arrest of around 700 people. Those held were treated appallingly. Natalia Koliada, the co-founder of the Belarus Free Theatre, was one of those arrested. The Free Theatre had performed at an event organised by Index on Censorship just 2 weeks previously at the Young Vic. Whilst Koliada was in prison, guards made vile threats. "You're animals. We want to kill you. Our dream is to kill you." Those detained were not held in cells, but had to stand in freezing prison corridors. All the prisoners had biometric photographs taken of them and were fingerprinted and filmed. Ales Mikhailovich, one of 7 presidential candidates who was detained, has subsequently made serious allegations of torture. In total, 42 people face criminal prosecutions for organising a mass disturbance. The charges carry a prison sentence of up to 15 years.
Now can I ask, we've been waiting for him, Sir Tom Stoppard to come up and speak and then give this award. Tom.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Please do allow me to say first how much it means to me to be representing the magazine Index on Censorship for a few moments. The magazine has been a good deed in a wiki world for a long time. I've known it and admired it, I think, from the beginning. And I was once indeed, for a period, a member of its board of trustees. We are grateful to it and we respect it and we hope it has a long and happy and healthy future, which I'm sure it does. My Scottish friend has told you everything that I was going to say about this award, and I'm very grateful to him, but I think you've now got the facts. I perhaps should mention that I know just a few of these 42. I met when I was in Minsk 5 years ago, and I'm close to some small group of people who represent the recipients who are with us today, members of the Belarus Free Theatre. I got an email out of the blue from people I didn't know, I think in 2005, and it simply asked for a message of support for their work. And it didn't seem to me to be very much to ask, so I got around to asking them what they really wanted, and I ended up meeting them, and I've known them ever since. And although they don't say much about it themselves, in their own way, they represent a quality which is deeply present in the 42 who are incarcerated and who are indeed the the recipients of this special Commendation award. And that attribute is courage, sheer, simple courage. It's something that few of us have cause or necessity to show in ourselves. Well, I won't speak for all of you. I cannot. I know some of the people who are here. For myself, I feel that I've had a charmed life, and there's a balance to be made between mine and other people's. And if you feel that about your own life, then it's not that difficult to just adjust that balance for yourselves in any one of innumerable ways. So there are 42 people. They're either in the KGB cells or under house arrest. And it was mentioned much earlier that there were 42 arrested. In fact, these are the remaining 42 of several hundred who were arrested on that evening when there was a peaceful demonstration against Well, it's all received knowledge, but I'm prepared to pledge myself for it, so I will continue a protest and a demonstration against an evidently unfair, rigged election, which presented the country again with a dictator. And I would like to just add that perhaps we all need jogging in some way, because it's a fact so grotesque that perhaps we're too close to it to recognize it. But here is an anomaly. A good old-fashioned, copper-bottomed, no-nonsense-about-it, bloody dictatorship on our doorstep in Europe, 2 hours from London, adjacent to Poland, Lithuania. I mean, it's just sitting there being a dictatorship at a time and place where we sort of vaguely accept the almost truth that such things in Europe have been consigned to history. And it is galling and salutary to be reminded on such an occasion as this that although it should have been consigned to history, all the stigmata of dictatorship are very much present today. March 24th, 2011, there it is, the whole deal. Imprisonment for turning up at a peaceful protest, indiscriminate and savage beatings by policemen, incarceration without contact with lawyers, lawyers intimidated for attempting to do their task. I really could keep you for 40 minutes. I'm going to wrap this because the person whom I'd really like you to meet is not myself. It is Natalia Koliada, who is herself only one of others, but here she is. She's an indomitable spirit. I'm humbled to be in this position of privilege to present her with the Special Commendation Award of the magazine Index on Censorship. And you look remarkably well after all the things I've been saying about the life you've been leading. And here's the microphone, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. I don't know whether you know that and whether Tom likes it, but he's our third father, because nobody takes care of us as he does, and Irina and another friend of us in London, and Jackie Matthews. These are the people who are taking care of us. But I just want to tell you about our relations with Index before I go to my story. And you know, when I'm appearing on stage, it means that the evening is destroyed. I would just start to complain. So before I start to complain, I just tell you our story about our relations. Because last week, I sent my speech to Mike Harris. He said I need it. So I was flying to Washington. I prepared. I sent it. Today I got back to London from Washington, and I got email from Mike saying, you know what, it should be shorter, and your speech is the longest one. So it means that our relations got to this amazing, fantastic frame of friendship. Actually, it was started from our meeting with Julia Farrington. I think she's somewhere upstairs, our amazing, absolutely friend. And then it came to Jonathan Dimbley, who presented us in Janvik before the elections. And it's coming to Monday, when John Camphor would be speaking to us at the protest, I believe so, and hope so for this, with a great support against British business taking place in Belarus. So this is our amazing relations with Index. But when Mike sent me this today, he marked that each page is 1.5 minutes. And it means that pay attention to your time. So I'm already speaking for 2 minutes, I'm sure. But because I'm the last one, and you are here, I'll be speaking. On the midnight of December 19, 2010, a 12-year-old girl was walking down the main avenue of Minsk, of city, together with her father back home. The streets were empty and there were no people. There were a lot of snow and a big Christmas tree with many lights on. And the girl said to her dad, "I have a feeling that there will be no New Year family dinner this time." It was the day of presidential election when people went to a peaceful rally. There was a feeling that this new year would be the best one for the last 16 years. But that night, the snow absorbed a lot of blood. There were boots and shoes all over the main squares. Many people had been severely injured, beaten up, humiliated, arrested, and thrown into jail. Over 700 were arrested that evening. That night I was in the square. I ran Natalia Radina, editor-in-chief of one of the most influential websites, charter97.org, to tell her details on what happened. Natalia was severely injured, she said concussion, but she didn't go to hospital. She wanted to update Charter97 website to tell the world what's happening in Belarus. Her office was raided, the team was arrested at 3 o'clock in the morning, as it happened to other independent media as Nasha Niva, European Radio, and others. Last year, Natalia Radina was nominated for Index on Censorship Award. She came to London for the ceremony. Afterwards, she said she knew that there are other people who deserve the award more, but she wanted more people to talk about Belarus as it deserved the same attention that other countries get to face similar problems as ours. 1 year has passed since that moment, but everything has changed since that day in London. On September 3, Mike Harris from Index on Censorship arrived to Minsk to see our performances and to meet all our friends. Instead of meetings, he attended the funeral. Is there any water somewhere? But I think I would manage. Our very close friend, Oleg Bibenin, founder of Charter97. I'm sorry. Our very close friend, Oleg Bibenin, founder of Charter97 website, was found dead. It was just the beginning of what happened on December 19, 2010. Now Lukashenko wants to repeat what he did in 1999. He wants to remove all leaders of Belarus, but using a new method. As he said at his press conference right after the crackdown on December 20, he will not make presents to the opposition as disappearances. That should give the moment when the world stops talking to the last dictator of Europe. This is the person who kidnaps, kills people, put innocent people in jail, and use them for blackmail. Generally, such people are put on trial, but somehow the world doesn't apply this to Lukashenko. Belarus, one of the main 5 countries that traded arms. Today, when the UK and France fight for human rights in Libya, they're fighting with Gaddafi, who bought arms from Lukashenko. It's necessary to understand that the last dictatorship in Europe put in danger the whole world, not just its own people. Nevertheless, the West continued to engage this monster. Human rights and democracy took second place to geopolitical interest, business profits, and historical fears of Russia. It was 5 minutes past midnight of the 1st of January of 2011. We have crossed the border of Belarus. And it was the first time in my life when we didn't have a family dinner. It was my 12-year-old daughter who said to my husband that she has a feeling that there will be no New Year dinner this time. For many people in Belarus, there was no New Year dinner. There are 6 people who were main opponents, journalists and business, and they were killed. For today, not 42 people face 15 years in jail. It's already 56. To date, Natalia Radina, who stayed in KGB jails for 40 days, was transferred to her hometown. Her passport was taken from her. She needs to be checked by local KGB and police. Now she faces up to 15 years in jail, yet she continues her job as a journalist for Charter 97, together with Fyodor Pavluchenko and Pavel Marinch, and great team who are still underground in Belarus. Does the world need to wait for people to be killed in Belarus, in the streets, as it's happened in Libya, or it might be a good idea to free Belarus now? People who do independent media, they put themselves at risk, but they knew it's important to inform the world about what happened on December 19 in Belarus. And I'm joined today by Irina Bogdanova Sannikova, sister of Andrei Sannikov, the presidential candidate, and sister-in-law of Irina Khalib, a famous journalist who is today accused by the last dictator for trying to overthrow him, and Elena Edwards, who is sister-in-law of Alice Mikhalevich. Irina and Elena represent all relatives of those people who are in jails, past tortures and humiliation, stay under house arrest. The world politicians have said all the right things to us, but they lack courage to stand up and take actions against Lukashenko. So we have decided to take actions ourselves. And today there's 2 ladies present here, and I would like Irina and Elena to come up to here, because the award is to prisoners, political prisoners of Belarus. And these 2 ladies who start private persecution against the last dictator in Europe. This award belongs to all political prisoners. It belongs to people who are killed and kidnapped in Belarus and who stand up for human rights in Belarus now.
Excuse me, I lost voice a couple of days ago. I'm touched and humbled by the honor of receiving this award on behalf of our friends and loved ones. And I'm extremely grateful to all of you for the support you're giving us and for all the help that Index and Censorship is doing to help us to free our loved ones. And one of the slogans of my brother's campaign was, "Together we will win." And I'm appealing to you to join us in our fight for freeing our relatives and friends. Together we will win. Thank you very much.
You heard the applause, and you know exactly what that means, Zarina, and Natalia, too. You did overrun your time. It was worth every single moment of it. It's a privilege for all of us to have heard exactly what you said and what you 3 represent, and you've made us pause to think of those 52 who now face 15 years in jail for daring to demonstrate. I said you overrun. You wouldn't have got to where you are now if you obeyed, would you? Thank God for disobedience. I also want to say thank you to Tom Stoppard, for saying what he said with such brilliance and eloquence. The master writer, playwright of repression, oppression, torture and misery, and done in a way that stirs every heart between the smiles. Thanks very much, Tom, for being here and for speaking for us.